Hey there, adventurers! Welcome back to World Folktale Treasure, your magical gateway to incredible folktales from every corner of the globe. Today, we're diving into a world of trickery, smarts, and pure adventure with one of the cleverest cats you've ever met. But before we jump into this fantastic tale, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more exciting stories. Trust me, you'll want to stick around. Oh, and don't forget to like and share if you love folktales as much as we do. Once upon a time, in a tiny village, there lived a poor miller who had 3 sons. When the miller passed away, he left each son something to remember him by. The eldest son inherited the mill, the middle son got the donkey, and the youngest, well, he got a cat. The youngest son looked at the cat with disappointment, sighing, "What on earth am I supposed to do with a cat? Maybe I'll eat him and make some gloves out of his fur." But before he could say anything else, the cat sprang up on his hind legs, puffed up his chest, and said with a clever grin, "Master, you don't need to worry. Give me a sack and a pair of boots, and I promise you, you'll never regret it." Now, this wasn't just any ordinary cat. Oh no, this was a talking cat. And not just any talking cat, a smart, clever, and ambitious one. So, even though the young man was doubtful, he decided to trust the cat's wild plan. Soon enough, the cat was strutting around in his shiny new boots, looking like a true gentleman. With a twinkle in his eye, he filled his sack with bran and corn and headed straight for the woods. He laid the sack down near a rabbit hole, stretched out, and pretended to be fast asleep. It wasn't long before a curious rabbit, lured by the smell of corn, hopped right into the sack. The cat swiftly tied up the sack, chuckling to himself, and made his way to the royal palace. You see, this clever cat had a plan, and it was about to unfold. At the palace, the cat bowed before the king and said, "Your Majesty, I have brought you a gift, a fine rabbit for my noble master, the Marquis of Carabas." The king, surprised and delighted by the unexpected gift, smiled and said, "Please thank your master for me. Such generosity." And just like that, the cat made another trip and another, bringing the king gift after gift, all in the name of the mysterious Marquis of Carabas. The king started thinking, who is this wealthy and generous Marquis? Little did he know, the so-called Marquis was none other than the poor miller's youngest son, who didn't even know what the cat was up to. Then one day, the cat heard something that made his whiskers twitch. The king was going on a royal outing by the river with his daughter, the most beautiful princess in the land. The cat sprinted back to his master, eyes gleaming with excitement. "Master, if you do exactly as I say, your fortune is about to change forever." The young man, though baffled, agreed. The cat took him to the river where the young man bathed. Just as the king's carriage was passing by, the cat began shouting at the top of his lungs, "Help! Help! My master, the Marquis of Carabas, is drowning." The king, recognizing the clever cat, immediately stopped his carriage and sent his guards to rescue the Marquis. They pulled the young man from the water, and as he stood shivering, the cat rushed to the king. "Oh no! Thieves have stolen my master's clothes while he was bathing." The king, feeling sorry for the poor, drowned Marquis, ordered his servants to fetch one of his finest royal outfits. When the young man emerged in the royal garments, he looked so handsome that the princess couldn't take her eyes off him. Her heart skipped a beat. Who is this dashing Marquis of Carabas? The cat, grinning from ear to ear, had more tricks up his sleeve. He ran ahead of the king's carriage to a field where some peasants were working and said, "Good people, when the king asks you whose land this is, you must say it belongs to my master, the Marquis of Carabas, or else the king's soldiers will be very, very angry." Frightened, the peasants agreed. And when the king's carriage rolled by, the king asked, "Who owns these beautiful fields?" The peasants, as instructed, replied in unison, "The Marquis of Carabas, your majesty." The king, even more impressed now, nodded in approval. This little trick played out over and over as the king passed by vast fields and rich lands, all of which, of course, were claimed to belong to the Marquis of Carabas. But there was one more piece of the puzzle. The cat had to secure a castle worthy of his master. He knew of a terrifying ogre who lived in a grand castle nearby. The cat knocked on the door, and the ogre, towering and fierce, opened it. "I've heard tales of your magical powers," the cat said, pretending to be in awe. "Is it true you can turn into the mightiest creatures like a lion?" Proud and boastful, the ogre instantly transformed into a ferocious lion, roaring so loudly that the cat had to leap onto the curtains to avoid being eaten. But the cat wasn't done yet. "Very impressive," said the cat. "But I bet you can't turn into something as small as a mouse." The ogre, eager to prove his magical strength, transformed into a tiny, squeaky mouse. And before the ogre could realize what was happening, snap! The clever cat pounced and gobbled him up in one bite. The ogre was gone, and the castle now belonged to the cat's master. Just in time, too, because the king's carriage arrived, and the cat proudly welcomed them. "Welcome to the castle of the Marquis of Carabas." The king, amazed by the grand castle, turned to the young man and said, "My dear Marquis, you are a man of great wealth and honor. Would you do me the honor of marrying my daughter?" The young man, speechless but overjoyed, accepted, and they were married that very day. The once poor miller's son became a wealthy and powerful noble, all thanks to his clever, boots-wearing cat. Wasn't that an amazing tale of wit and adventure? From rags to riches, all because of one smart cat. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe to World Folktale Treasure for more magical stories just like this one. Give us a thumbs up, share with your friends, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a single tale. Until next time, keep imagining, keep dreaming, and keep the stories alive.